morning, mathematicians. Today we are going to be talking about multiplying and dividing rational numbers, and more specifically fractions. So when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across, or in fancy mathematical terms, we multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. So for an example, if we have a over b times c over d, the result would be a times c over b times d. All right, so let's do some examples with some numbers. All right, so my first problem is 6 times negative 7/4. So 6 is a whole number, but all whole numbers can be written as rational numbers if you just write them over 1. So any number you see can be written over 1. So I'm going to rewrite it so that way they're lined up. So remember when I set up there, we multiply straight across. Now it's going to jump around on me. There we go. We multiply straight across, or like I said in fancy mathematical terms, we're going to multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. So we take 6 times 7, which would be 42, 1 times 4, which is 4. We have a positive times a negative, so my answer is going to be negative. Now this is an okay answer, but if you want the correct answer, or the more right answer, we need to simplify. And we simplify by dividing the same values out. So 42 and 4 are both even numbers, so we can divide them both by 2 to simplify. So we still have that negative hanging out there. Don't forget about him. 2 goes into 4 twice, 2 goes into 2 once, so 21 over 2, and that would be the most right answer. Next we have number 2, and we have negative 3/2 times negative 4/5. So again, we're going to multiply straight across. I don't have to change anything, so I'm just going to use the typed ones. And I'm going to take 3 times 4, which is 12, and 2 times 5, which is 10. I have a negative times a negative, so my answer is positive. Now, this is an okay answer, but to get the most correct answer, we need to simplify. And 12 and 10 are both even numbers, so we're going to divide by 2. 2 goes into 12 6 times, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. So 6 over 5 would be the most correct answer. All right, let's take a look at number 3. We have negative 3/2 times negative 1/6. And notice that it's written a little bit differently. Up here we have the time sign. Here we have parentheses, but they mean the same thing. So notice how on these first two problems we had to simplify after we multiplied. Well, what if I told you there was a way to simplify first so that you don't have to do that? Sometimes you'll still have to, but if you simplify it all out before, then you don't have to simplify your final answer. So when we simplify, we're going to look across the two fractions and across the fraction line and look for values that can be divided out, divided into each other, so on and so forth. So if I look here, I have a 3 in the numerator. That's going to jump on me. I don't know why it does that. It's frustrating. I have a 3 in the numerator and a 6 in the denominator. Well, 3 goes into 6 evenly. So if I say 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. And so now I have 1 times 1 on the top, and 2 times 2 on the bottom, which would be 4. And I have a negative times a negative, so my answer is positive, and I don't have to simplify. If you don't like that, you can still multiply it out as normal. So what it would look like if you didn't simplify first, we have 3 times 1, which is 3, over 6 times 2, which is 12. Well, 3 and 12 can be simplified because 3 goes into 12. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 12 divided by 3 would be 4. And we end up with the same value. Look at number 4. Number 4, we have 3 halves times 4 thirds. So I'm going to look across the fraction line to see if there's anything that can cancel out. So 3 can go into 3. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 3 once. And also 2 can go into 4. So 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 4 twice. So now my multiplication is pretty straightforward. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative times a positive is a negative. And then I can simplify this even further. Anytime you have a value over 1, we can just kind of drop the 1. And that would be my answer. If we didn't do the simplification first, let me show you what it would look like. Just to show you, we're still going to get to the same answer. 3 times 4 would be 12. 2 times 3 would be 6. Negative times a positive is a negative. And 6 and 12 can be simplified. 6 goes into 12 2 times. All right, let's do a couple more examples because this is going to bring in a new element. So notice again we have it written a little bit differently. That dot still means multiplication. But if you notice, we have some mixed numbers, and we haven't really dealt with mixed numbers yet. So we're going to take care of these mixed numbers over here. So what you do when you rewrite a mixed number to an improper fraction, you multiply the denominator times the whole number, and then you're going to add that to the numerator. So 3 times 3 is 9, and then you add that to, we're still over 3, we saw that negative, so it would be negative 11 thirds. So now my problem is negative 11 thirds times 2 thirds. So let's make a kind of a general formula that you can see. So you take the denominator times the whole number and add the numerator. All right, so we're going to check for any cross-canceling or canceling out. 3 and 2 don't go into each other. 3 and 11 don't go into each other, so we can't cancel anything out. So we multiply. 11 times 2 is 22, and 3 times 3 would be 9. Negative times positive is negative, and there is no number that goes into 9 and 22. And so we can't simplify it. That is our final answer. All right, last problem for this video. Looks like we have another mixed number, so if I follow my pattern of the denominator times the whole number plus the numerator, I'm going to take 9 times 3, which would be 27, plus 8 over 9, and 27 plus 8 would be 35 over 9, and I still have that negative hanging out. Don't forget about that negative. All right, so now I have negative 35 ninths times negative 1/3. Check for any cancellations. 3 does not go into 35. 9 and 1 don't go into each other, so I can't cancel anything out, so I just multiply straight across. 35 times 1 would be 35, and 9 times 3 would be 27. Negative times negative is positive. There is no value that goes into both 35 and 27, so that is our final answer. And that is the last problem we're going to do on the multiplication video. Check out my division video next. Happy mathing!